All right, everybody, we are live with Chrome, Practical Chrome, episode 37. We are live as usual on this Tuesday fine evening, and this is the show dedicated to everything Chrome, whether it be a Chromecast, Chromebook, Chrome OS, Chromebox, Chrome Base. You put the word Chrome on it, we're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about a couple other things this evening. This is going to be the News Hour episode. But before we do talk about the news hour, I would like to thank our sponsors. Of course, we do have the Effective Group. And this, if you want basically an amazing website and be able to get out there with SEO management, everything like that, this is going to be the company for you. Definitely check them out at Effective Group, effective-group.com. And also, we want to thank our other sponsor. That's going to be Coinbase.com. If you're looking for a safe and easy way to transfer your Bitcoin, transfer USD into Bitcoin, these are going to be the guys where you're going to want to go. Again, it is going to be Coinbase.com. Be sure to visit our referral link, coinbase.practicalchrome.com, and check them out. So, and thank our sponsors, effective-group.com and Coinbase. Really cool, huh? Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Craig?
Thank you.
Yeah, James. Awesome. See, he's unmuted. Craig, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, John.
See, there you go. I forgot to get my water, to be honest. I'm here at the Holiday Inn Express this week, and I need water, and I didn't get it. It's terrible. So, guys, we're going to be talking about news this week because a couple things. One, I'm based out of a Holiday Inn Express, so I couldn't talk about the Lenovo Yoga 11E that I got because I want to talk about that, but it can't travel. Or at least I didn't ask for permission, so I didn't want to be taking Lenovo's product around the place and then not telling them about it. So, but you know what ended up happening? That a lot of news happened. Some of it not Chrome related, but I do want to talk about it because it's big, right? So we got some Chrome stuff. I'm calling this the news hour because it's kind of like what happened with Scuttlebutt back a few months back. There's almost like so much to talk about news-wise. Really kind of want to dive in. You guys interested? Are you down?
Of course. If this is anything like 60 Minutes, we're going to have some fun.
That's what I'm saying. Is it 60? Then there's also the News Hour with Bill Lair, I think, from like PBS or something. It's a good show. I don't know the guy's name, but it's a good show. We're all going to be just in a dark room around a table, and he's just going to be asking questions. So this is the News Hour here on Practical Chrome. Again, thanks everyone for watching the show, and you know, we were just chatting about it earlier, talking about the amount of people that watch and listen to the show. The numbers are actually pretty cool for a show that's only been on for like 8 months. So I want to thank everybody for watching. Again, the show is dedicated to everything Chrome, Practical Chrome. And we are live every Tuesday night at 10:10. We're available as an MP3. You can catch us with your podcast catcher app on your Android or iPhone. We are in iTunes. You can check out the site, practicalchrome.com, and pick up all those different kind of feeds. You can also hook us up a little bit of Bitcoin because James and I still need some hardware. We're looking to get like some nice stuff, like kind of like what Craig has. So when it comes to audiovisual equipment. That's what I'm saying. So we gotta get the Bitcoin rolling, right? So we take Bitcoin donations. We're trying to get future forward, right, and be all about the web. So we've got the Bitcoin rolling. We did get one donation. It was awesome, and so that's been stupendous. And so yeah, this is welcome to Practical Chrome, everybody. So let's get to it, guys. Now, before we get into the news, I did want to talk about our first sponsor. And let's see if I can pull this up real quick, just really quickly, because of course I forgot to bring up my notes. I always do that. And again, this is a live show every Tuesday at 10:10. We do this pretty much 100% live, and I do not edit anything out. Craig, I think last week you thought about editing something out, and I didn't. Nope, did not. Can't remember what you wanted to edit out. Oh yeah, my Giggle Fest. Didn't edit that out.
That and the 5 minutes of dead air when you disappeared on us.
5 Was it 5 minutes exactly?
It was a pretty lengthy amount of time. I would say at least 5 minutes, if not pushing 6 or 7.
No, you've lost it. That's not true. I don't think it was. I think it was. Wait, I know what you're talking about now. You're talking about when you no. See, here's the thing. That wasn't dead air though. I disappeared, but I don't need to be here for this show to happen. You guys are awesome. And, you guys
Right,
know, yeah.
right. But when you put us on the spot, time stretches out. And it feels like 5 minutes, even if it's actually only a minute and a half.
Oh, shoot.
Truth.
No. All right. Well, listen, I found my notes, and you guys aren't giving yourself enough credit, but I'll go into this really quickly. So again, the news is going to be brought to you by Coinbase. Now, did you know that more and more companies are accepting Bitcoin? Has someone offered you Bitcoin in exchange for goods or services? With Bitcoin's popularity growing more and more, having a well-known source to purchase, sell, and keep your Bitcoin is important. Coinbase can be your easy and worry-free source for Bitcoin and Bitcoin transactions. Coinbase allows you to send Bitcoin to others, buy new Bitcoin with US dollars, and then cash that back out. If you're concerned about getting into using Bitcoin as a currency, then Coinbase is your best first step. With some of the strongest security, stronger than most banks, Coinbase makes using Bitcoin incredibly safe. Visit Coinbase today through our referral link to let them know that Practical Chrome Podcast sent you by going to coinbase.practicalchrome.com. All right. Coinbase is awesome. To the news, gentlemen. So again, this whole hour is going to be about the news, pretty much. But there were some kind of breakout things that I wanted to be like news, and then there's going to be like the main, which is going to be about like some other stuff. Like Craig's all new watch, which he's like, it's not Chrome related, and it's not like 100% like not Chrome related, but it's still cool. So I think it's important that we should talk about it because I think
It's round like Chrome.
See,
Chrome is round.
Nice association, James. I like that one. I'm going with that. Cool. All right, so let's get into the news real quick. So, 6th birthday to Chrome. Awesome. I mean seriously, it's its 6th birthday. Oh. Chrome browser is now 6 years old. That's super cool. I mean, think back to when it came out, and you were like, "What?" And then now it's like literally part of like our lives. Well, especially us three. But I mean, I talked to someone just the other day, and I said, she had a concern about her computer being slow, and we were going to remote it in, and I was going to take a look at some stuff, and I was like, so I wanted to find out all the good questions, and I said, what browser are you using? Are you using Chrome or IE? Or I mean, which one are you using? Just to figure it out, just so when I went in there, I was going to be looking at the right thing. She said, Chrome, all about the Chrome, and this was, she had no idea that I was all into like the podcast. She knew I was podcasting, but not about Chrome specifically. But it was just interesting to find out that she literally was a 100% Chrome user. And a couple people at work are like that. It surprises me sometimes because I see IE at work all the time. We have to have IE. You just have to use it. It's like a lot of business. I know. And, yeah. Mm-hmm, exactly.
Well, they do say that IE usage on a daily average drops after about 5 p.m.
This is what I'm saying, and you can see that it's totally true. It's totally true, and you also see the spike of Chrome and Firefox use at lunchtime too.
Yep,
which is hilarious. So people are like, "Woohoo!"
Well, to be fair, some of that's probably people using their mobile phones on their lunch break, which don't typically run IE. But
there's tons of Windows phones out there running IE. Literally dozens of Windows phones out there.
Yeah, but there are also dozens of Amazon Fire phones out there too.
True. What browser are they using?
Well, probably some
Opera?
Amazon. No, probably Amazonium or something. Some fork of Chromium for Amazon Prime.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and all it does is scan Amazon for anything you're searching for.
Right.
Exactly. So I've got a link in the show notes. Of course, our friends over at OMG Chrome and Chrome Story have done it again with this week's news. And so if you want to check out our all the links that we're going to talk about, every story that we're going to talk about is going to have a link in our show notes. If you visit the site, practicalchrome.com, check out the NewsHour episode, and you'll be able to find all the links. So next up, so have you guys seen this? This is really cool, and this is we've talked about it in Windows 8, how Chrome had this what they call it? They call it Metro mode, which is kind of silly, I guess, because what it did was it allowed you to see Chrome OS in your Chrome, like your Chrome browser would turn into Chrome OS. So your entire screen was taken up with what looked like Chrome OS in your Windows 8 machine. And I thought it was kind of cool. I did it on my wife's computer a long while back, and then kind of forgot about it because I use Windows 7 at work, Windows XP at work, so I didn't. It was kind of like a whatever. But just recently in the Canary version of Chrome, which is the bleeding edge that you can get for Windows 7, you can actually run Chrome OS mode. You guys see it?
I saw an article talking about it. I haven't actually. I have a Windows 7 machine, but I'm afraid if I try to do anything with it, it'll explode. So I haven't. It's so terrible. It's awful.
I know it won't explode though, because Canary is a separate
You don't know
install.
that.
It's no, I don't. I don't know that, but I can tell you this: you can install Chrome Canary. Now what's interesting though, and Craig, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm pretty sure that I did this right. But I signed into Chrome Canary, and that was a bad idea, because that does link to your profile within your profile, like on your main machine. Because I couldn't do both. It stole it. So it started building out the apps using Canary and all like that. And I was like, no. And I had to kind of stop it.
That's correct. If you sign into your Canary profile, all of your apps also sync and your bookmarks and everything else. So you wind up with duplicate extensions and things like that, which can be a bit of a problem. But the solution is just to uninstall Canary and then reinstall it and don't sign in.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
I wonder if that's why. I tried it at work, and the computer just wouldn't really operate after I put Canary on it. Just a lot of slowness and crashing and everything, and I wonder if that's why.
It's possible. You may have had a few too many Chrome.exe processes.
Since there's 2 for every tab already anyways.
Exactly.
So I did sign into it because I wanted to see the new feature I'm going to talk about later, and so I wanted to see it work, and I was like, whoa, and it got all funny, and I do the thing with like the icon on the desktop that like one's mine, one's my wife, one's my daughter's, so that like she's got a little horsey, and my wife's got like a lady with a ponytail and sunglasses on, and then I've got the big smiley face. Mine disappeared. No, I didn't. I didn't know. I don't think you can load your own avatar. Your avatar now loads from your Google profile, though, so you don't even need that anyway. But if you sign back out of Canary, close everything down, and you can kind of restore everything. We're fine now, but I didn't have to uninstall, thankfully. But anyway, so in Canary, though, if you click Settings, you actually have and Dinsan has a really great picture in there of what it looks like when you do Canary, but there's also, I thought he had the picture of...
So you have to use Canary to do the Chrome OS mode in Windows 7?
Well, you do right now, yes, but I'm hoping that it'll port forward all the way.
I am not aware of any evidence that would suggest this is ever going to come to stable.
Oh, come on, Craig.
It's important to understand why this works. This isn't something that the team went out of their way to do. This was basically the result of consolidating the UI stack for Chrome to make sure that Chrome looks the same no matter what platform you're using. So they put Chrome OS, the assets for Chrome OS, within the Chrome general trunk. So this is kind of a byproduct of that consolidation. It works surprisingly well. But I haven't seen anything that would suggest that this is supposed to be a consumer product. I'm not really sure. It would probably send some mixed signals as a consumer product. A little bit of hostile takeover type, Trojan horse type situation. But I haven't seen anybody talk about it on the record either way officially. This is kind of one of those things where it's there, you can get to it, but they're not encouraging you to use it. They're not asking for feedback about it yet. It's possible they're just testing the waters a little bit and saying, hey, we're going to throw this out there and gauge public reaction. But don't be surprised if this is something that disappears. But don't be surprised if it's something that sticks around either. It's one of those things, we don't have a lot of information. I just don't want people to get overly excited about this and then be disappointed later.
No, listen. I don't base anything on facts. Right?
That's the problem.
But what I do know is that the Windows 8 Metro mode one was an unstable version.
Correct. And Windows 8 is a platform that encourages apps to run full screen.
Craig, it's gonna go stable. I'm going with that. And you know what? I'll talk to some people.
If it doesn't, like 8 people are going to be really mad.
Well, there are some big issues with making something like this stable. Mostly that you have to start to support it. You have to document it, and you have to support the product that you're going to put out there. And for supporting a Windows 7 users, for something like this that really only makes sense in Metro mode on 8, I don't know that it's really smart.
Yeah, but I'm not really smart. So I'm going to go with that it's going to go stable. That's where I'm going with it.
I'd use it if I had a Windows 7 machine that didn't suck. Since I use Chrome OS 90% of the time, I would, if I ever had to get the Windows laptop out, I would prefer it to look like Chrome OS, and then if I need to shrink it down, use some stupid Windows app real quick, and then bring back Chrome OS. That's if I used one, but I never use my Windows laptop unless I'm going to do a Windows-specific thing. So, yeah, it wouldn't really doesn't make a whole lot of sense for most people, I don't think, to be able to run Chrome OS mode on a Windows machine.
Yeah, but here's why I like it. I like it because where'd Craig go? I like it because he go. I like it because it allows someone the opportunity to immediately see what Chrome OS looks like and kind of feels like, in a sense. Like there's no guessing. You hit a button and then all of a sudden you have the Chrome OS experience. Some people say, "Oh, we'll just run everything that you need to in Chrome and you're going to be there." I get that, but one of the most popular links on practicalchrome.com is the one that tells you how to run Chrome OS in a VM because people want to try it. People want to see what it looks like. So being able to turn it on, that's why I say I think it's, if someone asked me from Google, they said, "John, would this be worth it?" I would say, heck yeah, because instead of saying what's Chrome OS like, they have, and getting the app tray inside of Windows and like being like this whole like Chrome browser inside of another OS, you can be like, oh, well, listen, click this button, and then your entire Chrome world ends up in the full screen. You have the app tray, you have, you know what I mean? Like they get more of a feeling of what it's like to be using Chrome OS. I mean, your boot time's still like 3 minutes if you have an older Windows 7 machine. Things like that are still there and going to happen.
If you were a real Chrome OS user, John, given how cheap they are, you would just have like 3 extra Chromebooks that you could lend out to these people instead of making them use Chrome OS on their crappy Windows machine. That's all I'm saying.
You make a good point. You make a good point.
So like,
I think John, your point is valid, but I would like to see a separate installable, not beyond Canary, beyond integration with Chrome, but a separate application you can download and install that would just expose this interface to users as a demo mode for Chrome OS. And you can call it demo mode of Chrome OS. But mixing it with the default stable environment for Chrome browser, in my opinion, it's going to cause the average user, remember who we're working with here, they're going to click into it by accident and they're going to panic. I mean, they're going to freak out. Where did my start button go? You don't want this in the business.
Wait a minute. So if your taskbar is not auto hide, it doesn't go full screen. You actually have to auto hide your taskbar.
True, but even then, where did all your other windows go? You can see the little names at the bottom, but let's be honest, John. 8 out of 10 people know how to get around their system. The other 2 don't.
So you do have to go into settings, so you have to open another Chrome browser in the Chrome OS
Right.
mode, and then click settings, and then click to get out of it. It's true. It's not.
It's not a great experience to expose to the average user in a place that's easy to get to, in
When they
my
could
humble
just put
opinion.
Linux on their Chromebook instead.
Exactly. All right. All
That's
right.
what I want. I want Chrome OS mode for Linux, so I can put Crouton on my Chromebook and then run Chrome OS mode in my Linux distro. That's what I'm waiting for, John.
There, it's literally Inception at that point because you're like Linux and then Linux and Chrome OS and then back into Linux and make my head hurt. All right. So I'm with you guys. It's an interesting discussion because I think it should be. I don't know if I want it to be a separate app. I really don't. But that's all right. Now, speaking of Chrome Stable, guys, we talked about this a few weeks ago, and that was that Chrome Beta for Android had the whole material design look, the moonshine logo, and the material design on the inside it. And I've been using the beta a lot lately, and I tell you what, I really like it. And then now the Chrome Stable on Android now has this, and I really like it. I mean, it came out, and I've been using it now. So I was using the beta for a while, but I'm really like James. If you had a chance, I mean, you updated your Chrome, right, on your phone, right?
Yeah, it's okay, but I wish they would give me my refresh button back.
Okay. Now is that because you test your websites? Because
Yes, that is a big part of it. I am very often refreshing web pages, certain
okay.
3 web pages very often. But yeah, it's just kind of annoying to have to click buttons. I don't like clicking buttons.
I'm with you. You're talking about the multiple steps to a button that was much faster before. I'm with you,
There's
Craig.
plenty of room for it. I don't know. I just don't understand. It's not like it was all cluttered up there. I don't know.
Well, though the font I think is bigger, so it would take it more realistic. Craig, material design, Chrome stable.
Well, I run beta as my default on Android, so I've been playing with it pretty extensively. Like James, the refresh button, although I actually have the refresh button on mine, um, which is strange, but I
Maybe.
don't have a back button, and that drives me insane. It
You have
drives
a
me
refresh
insane.
button?
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it from the.
I thought if you I
Probably
thought
not.
if you swipe, can you swipe to get it back?
If John would stop talking, I could see your screen.
Uh, I'll send you a screenshot.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll make Harry. Go ahead, Craig. You're primary now, so it won't switch.
I don't know that my camera can pick it up. Probably not.
Have you
Doesn't
looked
look
at it?
like it.
Yeah, yours is there because you've hit the settings button.
Right, right.
It used to be in the URL box.
Yeah, when you
Always.
press the URL, it'd be either refresh or exit.
Oh, sure, yeah, but I mean, the button's still there. You can get to it pretty quick. I can't find a back button. That's my
The back
problem.
button.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
back button's definitely gone.
you just have to hit back on the phone, I guess.
I don't think that
Can you,
I don't think that works.
it does for me.
No, no. If there's hold on, hold please. Because let me go to another site. Because I think I'm on one site. So let me go to Yahoo. And then I was on Yahoo, or I was on another page. So if you can see my screen. All right. So my screen's up, and then so I'm on Yahoo.com. Before that, I was on another page, and if I hit the back button, yeah, that's the back button.
That's
Right.
how I've
Oh,
always gotten back.
congrats. You've just solved like 30 hours of frustration.
Now here's the thing, Craig. What happened before though is that this was the page I was on because I hit this link off of Google Plus. So this was its own tab. And if I hit backspace now, it closes it down.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, woo, problem solved. There you go. So, but James's refresh button is still hidden. So, but listen, everybody who's got the stable, I think you're gonna like it. I think everyone's gonna really like it. I like the material design. I like the flow and the way that they've got things kind of expanding and popping out like that. It's really neat, the animation that they've got going on. So, really good stuff. Next up, The HP Chromebook 14 offers the nVidia Tegra K1 power for $300. Well,
I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
did you did you make that onomatopoeia out loud? Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about this a little bit more. I just wanted to, at this point, talk about the fact that the nVidia chip is coming to other manufacturers, which I think is exciting, and also the fact that the HP 14, they're doing the colors again. You know, I think that's another huge plus. When I see you guys, everyone talking about it in the forums and in the chats, everyone's excited about these colors, and I mean, I can't even tell you that green one that I had, it got the most oohs and ahs out of anything, and it's really cool when they come out with these new colors. The chipset's one thing, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think the colors are actually pretty nifty.
It's about time HP fulfilled Asus's promise of a bunch of colorful Chromebooks.
That's true, but one thing I do want to point out, and I want to shake HP's hands for, is they finally came up with a naming convention that makes sense. These new devices, the new HP 11 and the new HP 14, are called the HP 11 G3 and the HP 14 G3 for Generation 3. You had the original, you had a run of G2, and now you have the G3 models. And that makes sense. It's incremental, and it doesn't change the name. It centers the name around the screen size, which is logical, but it's also incremental, and I love that. Samsung going from the Samsung Series 550 to the Samsung Series 3, then to the Samsung Chromebook, and then to the Samsung Chromebook 2, it doesn't make sense. So I want to thank HP, whoever's in charge of naming, whether it's in marketing or whoever you are, thank you. Thank you. You just made our jobs a whole lot easier.
Do you think that if Samsung came out with a Chromebook 2, but with a larger screen, they might call it the Chromebook 2 Plus? Just a question.
That's going to be the Chromebook 1.
Right. Anyway, sorry, that was a bad joke in reference to another story later on. But Craig, I totally agree, because it's good to see, because I think the generation thing is a better thing. I had the Nexus 7, and just being able to be like, oh yeah, it's a Gen 1. I didn't have to really go into any more detail than that. People would be like, oh, that's the one that came out, a couple years ago. Yeah, it is. It's not the newest one, but it works really well, and you know what I mean? So I think that it's HP's 14-inch Chromebook, and it's awesome, and it's just the Gen 3 version.
Yeah, but the Gen 3 does make the difference in that they're switching from Intel to nVidia, whereas the HP 11 is switching from ARM to Intel.
I'm not arguing about that. I agree. I agree.
I'm saying the generation is a very good way of differentiating two models that otherwise are very similar.
Right, but my point is, though, is that like the Nexus 7, the two-generation models, one was a better system. It's just like the iPads, right?
Right. And in this case, the newer HP 11 is better than the older HP 11s because they're switching from ARM to Intel.
Correct. I guess what you're trying to say is that the HP 14 Gen 3 with the nVidia chip is going to not be so good performance-wise than the...
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that you said that just being able to say I have a first-generation tablet was nice and simple because it keyed everybody in correctly. I'm agreeing with that. Whether you have a G1, G2, or G3 HP 14 will make a difference, which is why the elegance of just being able to say Gen 1, Gen 2, or Gen 3 is so great.
Yeah.
I have no bad things to say, John.
Never said a bad thing.
No, we don't say bad things on this show. All right, so
that's not true.
Sometimes I call people crazy, but what can you do? Chrome boxes. I could not remember for the life of me if we talked about this, but Dell's coming out with a Chrome box. I gotta get me one of these, man. I gotta get me a Chrome box. I gotta get it in there. I gotta switch out my Windows 7 desktop, slide that bad boy in there, And then when my wife's like, "Hey, I need to do something," I'm like, "Oh, right." So that way I can slip that into the family computer. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. 179, decent model. We saw Acer with their little stand-up model a few weeks ago. This one, Dell's doing the whole, speaker, camera, remote thing too. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know. I don't own one.
I will say that this Dell model definitely looks like a Dell in that it's not especially pretty. It's really just a square black box with round edges with the Dell logo. It's everything the Dell enthusiast would dream of.
This is
Dell
true.
enthusiast.
They exist. Some of them were wiped out when the circuit boards of that one specific model, I think it was the Optiplex, the little circuit things, capacitors, they leaked. They leaked and they ruined motherboards. So a lot of them were wiped out during that. But I hear that dozens still exist, mostly in the enterprise.
We had like a ton of those boxes at a company that I worked for, and they hired a consultant to come in and do it. Or Dell hired out a bunch of. Anyway, it was crazy. It was crazy. But yeah, you're right. It is just a big black box. But what can you do? What can you do?
Well, it comes in a big brown box.
Initially, then you crack that open. You have a little black box.
Yeah, you just have to remember when you're opening the packaging, stop when you get to the black box.
Otherwise, yes, you could ruin your.
Hopefully it's pretty hackable, though, as in you can open it up. That's something that we didn't really hear about when it came to most of the other models, except for the Asus one and the original Samsung, which are both known for being pretty easy to open.
I remember that. Yep. Yeah. Hopefully, I'd like to be a little bit more tinkerable, I guess.
Right.
But I think that's kind of pie in the sky when it comes to Chrome OS stuff right now, anyway. So, but that's just me. Just me. Now, here was the other thing I wanted to talk about after the Chrome boxes was, so if you're running Canary, right, then you're able to see that. Let me bring this up on the screen here. See if I can get it. Almost there. Okay. So right now what I've got is I've got the Google Chrome blog up, and basically what they're kind of showing us here in these images is the fact that there's going to be a new little button, and it's over next to the main like close, expand, and minimize buttons. It's got this little sub button there, and it's got a drop down for the different people that use and have signed into Chrome. And it allows you to switch a person, go incognito, and it's got like your picture there, and you can get in there and do that. So it's pretty interesting. I think it's a really interesting little drop down. Have you seen that, Craig?
I have, and I've also seen the complaints. One thing this feature does add is a little drop down next to the maximize, minimize, and close buttons on the Windows bar at the top. And people generally don't seem to like that placement. They say it violates the rule that you don't touch that bar. I've never heard that rule, personally, but it seems pretty convenient to me. But people seem to be very upset. So that may be something that the team looks at changing due to feedback, maybe not. But I've heard the uproar.
It really reminds me of what I've brought up on the screen here is if you look at it, there is a Firefox button that works almost identically, but it's all the way on the other side.
True. Yes, and they copied that from Opera.
Right, exactly. So that's fair. I thought that was kind of interesting to see. Was that it looked like that button? So interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. And that's what you get with the Canary where you sign in. So you can. Now, what I don't like about it is I'd like it to be, and I didn't notice. I tried digging a little as much as I could, and I think someone had mentioned this, but I'd like to be able to go in and say, you have to sign in to switch in as me. You can't just open it, right? And that sounds weird because I mean, if you're using especially like Windows, you should have maybe your own login to Windows, but we don't do that, right? We're just logged in as one family member that doesn't have admin rights, and you just do your thing, right? You just jump on. So I would have liked to have seen that.
Well, if that's the way you're doing it, then you're doing it wrong.
I know that.
Well, I mean, think about it. They wouldn't. Google really can't do that unless they're going to encrypt individual Chrome profiles.
Right. How hard's that, Craig?
Have you designed encryption software for Windows recently? I hear it's quite a challenge.
You're right, but I would like that option anyway. I'm just saying.
Well, send in feedback. Alt-Shift+I.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, all right. So that's gonna be the end of the news. And actually, I need. Here's what I need. I need 2 seconds, right? I don't want to pause, but I do need like 2 seconds. So give me 1 second. And if you guys, what I want to do is, what do I want to do?
I can talk to people and give a special shout out about Dinson and Mike and what they're up to this week.
Hey, that'd be great, Craig. That'd be awesome. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. For anybody listening that might be interested in the Top Contributor program that Google offers, which, as some of you might know, is where you visit the official product forum, the support forum for Chromebooks, and you lend a hand answering common questions that people might run into. This week is actually a very good example of one of the perks that they often offer their top contributors. They actually flew Dinson, which is the owner of ChromeStory.com, from India to London for a meetup and training session this week. He's joining Mike and a couple of the other guys. Andrew's one of them from the Chrome OS product forum, and they're just having a blast. I think the Google Plus hashtag is TC 2014 meetup or something along that line. There's tons of photos, and it really looks like a good time. James and I have both been invited to one later this month, and so has John, although different locations. And really, they're kind of just a training session. They bring you in for a couple of days. They sit you down. They teach you how to respond to users. You get some interaction time with various product teams where you get to interact and give feedback and things like that. And it's really just kind of a perk. It's really nice. Everything's paid for, so you don't have to worry about paying to fly or anything like that. And really, it's an appreciation factor, I think. And I know I'm really excited, and I know John and James probably are too. James, when did you hear about the meetups before you applied for the program, or did it come as a surprise for you?
It was a surprise. I didn't even really know about the program until you pointed me to Andrea's Google Plus post talking about said program, and so I learned all that stuff all pretty much at once. So this is very exciting. We actually, all three of us, barely made the cut, actually, which made it even more exciting because there was a deadline for registering, and we were promoted to Rising Star status within days of the registration deadline. So it's been a very exciting process.
Yeah, and for listeners that might not know, Andrea is actually the community manager for Chrome OS, and she is in charge of whether you report something on Google Plus or somewhere else. She's in charge of coordinating with the project teams and the end consumer. And I gotta say, she does such a wonderful job at her job. It's phenomenal. I don't know how she pulls some of the strings she does, but it's just amazing to watch, and I'm really, really happy that I get to work with her and Dinson and Mike and James and all of the other people that contribute to it. And we're always accepting more people. We'll put a link in the show notes, but it's really easy to get involved. You just head to the product forum for any Chrome or any Google project that you're interested in. John, for example, is a rising star for Hangouts. You just kind of get involved in the product forum. You answer questions as you go, and if you can show your expertise, they'll reward you for it.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm super excited about it. It was an exciting time when I found out that we were going to go. I was like, what? It is sad that we're not going to all get... I wish I was going to Chicago instead of New York, but what can you do? But
you move, John. You move.
right, exactly, exactly. Um, yes, that is good stuff, and it's really exciting to see the guys out there in London chatting it up and taking pictures and really exciting stuff. All the people from the product forum being able to being able to see all of them all together is pretty cool. So thanks guys for that little break. What I needed to get I needed to get that water, and B, I was slipped a note under my door, and I was like, ooh, am I being too loud? So, because again, I'm at a Holiday Inn Express, and you know me, I get a little bit exuberant and a little bit loud. So I didn't want to. I wanted to make sure that the other guests here are properly taken care of, and that they're not trying to sleep while I'm hollering at everybody. So anyway, no, it wasn't that. So that's good. Um, so guys, that's the news, and good. Thanks, Craig, for putting the shout out there, but the guys in London. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and segue into our next thing, which actually is really quick feedback. I know that sounds kind of weird, but we always get a few hear things here and there. One thing was that someone wanted to let us know that the new Toshiba, the SD card actually does slide in all the way. Like because we were pointing out last week that the Lenovo's they don't.
Oh, that's
Yep.
nice.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Nice. Huh? Yeah. Um, some of the other feedback. One of them was I got this email from one of our listeners out in Norway, and he asked a couple questions, and I kind of wanted to throw this out there because Craig and James are website builder aficionados, right? I've had my hand at it a little bit, done a little things myself here and there, but these guys are you guys are like hitting it all the time. So I wanted to kind of put that out there to you guys as well, and that was I put that web starter kit um, adventure in Chrome out there where you could go out and you could really quickly build a static website using the web starter kit on your Google Drive, so you could just see how it worked, and you could host it from Google Drive. But again, that was just a static website. You couldn't really do any back-end stuff. You couldn't do any of like the building tools they have. But here was his question. He says, "Hello, I saw your video on the web starter kit. Very cool. I don't know much about coding. I currently make websites in WordPress. It looks like the web starter kit is the next level stuff. Is it? And can I get cracking at it without any coding experience except from copying pasting Google codes for AdSense and G+? And if I'm going to invest in a Chromebook, which one is best with the web starter kit? Sincerely, Einar, I believe is how I pronounce it, from Norway." So again, guys, so he's got a couple questions in here. One's going to be that he already does some WordPress stuff, and my thing would be that if you've dug in enough into WordPress, then you've actually gotten into a little bit of coding already. And I would say that if you've already gotten, he gives a couple links of some of the pages he's already started up, and if he's already, he said something about not really being much of a coder, but honestly, if you've got web pages up there on the web now, I mean, I would call yourself a web designer. You might be rough at it, but you're willing to bang away at it until you get it where you need it to look, and that's kind of like what everybody does, right? So.
It kind of
The sites
does
that he's
depend on your definition of web designer, because you can design a
Sure.
website with Wix and not even know how to spell HTML. But there's, you see what I did there? But like there's a huge difference between that and a web coder. So I would be interested to know exactly what his expertise is with HTML and CSS. From the way you read that email, it sounds like copying and pasting AdSense code is the extent of his code experience. And if I'm interpreting that correctly, then he may want to stick to WordPress until he's learned more about code. Although there's really no better way to learn code than to go in and just do it. I mean, I started by Frankensteining other websites. I wanted to create a photo gallery, so I'd go find a website that had a photo gallery, copy and paste the code over, and just modify it with my own pictures, that kind of stuff. So I would say there's absolutely no reason to not grab the starter kit and start playing around with it. Just don't be surprised if there's a little bit of a learning curve, because you are going to need to learn how the HTML works. After you copy and paste enough things over and certain things don't work that you feel like they should work, there's going to be a lot of learning involved. So I've been learning for like 18 years or something.
Right now? I would I would say the web starter kit. Here's the interesting thing about the web starter kit, and that is that there's actually you can make it as simple as you want, or you can actually make it as complicated as you want. For like a developer that uses the full tool sets and things like that, you really can dig in, get yourself a Windows or a Linux machine, and actually like use some of the back end stuff to build out the testing suite and things like that. You can do a lot, go that deep. But I think the web starter kit also has the ability to be just a standalone static page. Craig, what are your thoughts about, and especially when the question came up about the which, if Chromebook's going to be the best thing to code with when it comes to websites. What are your thoughts on the fact that, some people would say because you can't do the whole Linux build process piece of the web starter kit that maybe you don't want to do it there.
Well, I agree a lot with what James said. I will say that one fantastic resource to get started with is HTML5rocks.com. I believe it's a Google project. Yeah, it is. And it just goes over basically every new element that there is to HTML5 in excruciating detail, which to a beginner is just phenomenal. I still reference it pretty frequently when I'm building out new projects. It's just really, really handy. As for which Chromebook, I don't have an answer. I hate to say that, but I still do most of my rapid development on a Windows box. I use a combination of Photoshop for mockups and a program called Brackets, which is also from Adobe for my actual coding, and then FileZilla for my FTP. And that's just it's not an experience I've been able to replicate well enough on Chrome OS to move over full time. But to be truthful, I'm not doing a lot of rapid development anymore. So I'm actually, when it comes to maintenance, I've actually started to use a service called C9.io. That's just the letter C and then the number 9, which is a service that basically lets you log in to a cloud editor. You connect to your site by FTP. They download the files to their servers, and presents you with an editing interface. So for making quick code changes, that's handy. That works just as well on my HP 11 with an older ARM chip as it does on my Acer C720 with the touchscreen, because it's not local, it's remote. So as long as you have a steady connection, it works either way. I think it's going to be a matter of what type of development you're really looking to do. If you're just looking at WordPress, you may not need a powerful machine because a lot of those files are going to be out, on the web. If you're looking to build, like John said, an application where you're going to build a local sandbox and do a lot of back-end stuff that's actually addressed to localhost, and you're going to install a lamp stack on a box in your room, maybe you should be looking at a different device in general. I'm not sure that Chromebooks are the best option, maybe as a portal, but you're going to want a machine capable of installing any dev tool you need to throw at it to do the actual development. Now, if you want to use a Chromebook as a portal to that machine using a remote desktop tool or VMware or something, that's a different story. But as far as real development goes, I'm not sure Chrome OS is really suited yet. I hope to see that change, but I'm not confident enough in it to recommend it. I can't do that.
I would say, first of all, WordPress, you can do that on any Chromebook because, like Craig said, it's all hosted on the web. On the web. So I do the web development that I do completely on Chrome OS, either my Acer C720 or the HP 14. But I do all my development in either cPanel when I'm just doing code, because that's where my websites happen to be hosted. And then I also do WordPress. I use Pixlr, pixlr.com, for graphic editing. And there's an app in the Chrome Web Store called SFTP that works pretty much exactly like FileZilla. It does cost like $3. FileZilla's free, but $3 isn't going to probably break a lot of people. So it definitely is possible, depending on what kind of development you're doing. If you're right now you're dabbling in WordPress, and that's really the development you want, is to create websites, you can absolutely do that from Chrome OS. There are tools out there like Dreamweaver that make code editing easier because they have a lot of neat little tools within the code. I saw someone using a program once where they clicked on an image, dragged the image into the code, and it plugged in the image code into the code. So there's cool tools like that out there on Windows machines. I haven't really found any really cool tools like that on Chrome OS. When I'm in cPanel, there's just the text. You're just looking at the text and you edit it. So it might be a little easier to make a mistake and not notice in cPanel, whereas if you're using something like Dreamweaver, Dreamweaver and other programs will often point out mistakes to you. So it's not the best experience in the world, probably, but you certainly can develop websites in Chrome OS with those tools that I mentioned. And I should say I haven't actually used the tool that you're asking us about, the WebKit starter thingy. Haven't used it at all, so I have no idea what that's like. What I do like about developing on Windows is Windows acts just like a server would. If you create a folder on your desktop and you put an HTML file inside of it and you reference a picture in another folder inside that folder, it will work. You can't just go in a drive and do that. You can't just open a file in Drive, put an HTML file in there, reference a photos in another Drive folder, and it's going to go find it. So it is kind of nice on a Windows machine to be able to just open up Notepad, type some code, create some folders. You can build your entire website on your desktop with Windows and then just FTP it on your server when you're done. So that's kind of neat. And then Dreamweaver has FTP capabilities, so you can build your whole website in Dreamweaver, FTP it to the server. I'm stuck logging into the server itself and editing it right there on the server. So it's not the best experience in the world, but in my opinion, it's better than having to use a Windows machine.
Definitely, and I would add, don't ever feel shackled to WordPress. It's an amazing tool, but it's just one of many amazing tools. I'm partial to a product called Anchor CMS. That's what Chrome Up runs on. It's extremely customizable, and it's a little bit lighter weight than WordPress is, but it also does require a little bit more advanced technical know-how to get up and running and to keep running. So if you're the type of person where you're in this position, the best advice possible is just to explore. James hit on that early. Just go out there, see what you can break, and then try to fix it. And if you can't fix it, find somebody that can and have them explain it to you very slowly. That's the best way you're going to learn web development. It's how I learned. James said it's how he learned. And I have a feeling it's how most people, most professional coders end up learning, because some of this stuff is just, it's almost self-taught. I mean, you can read it from a book, but the people that go on to do it professionally are the ones that had a passion for it before they ever saw the book. So I think it's possible, but I still don't know that I could recommend a Chromebook for advanced development right now.
No, I agree with both of you like wholeheartedly, but I think that I used to listen to a couple different podcasts about coding, and I had to stop because, especially for like beginning coding, and then when they would talk to you about beginning to do code and things like that, and the ones that I found annoyed me in the sense that I kept on looking for what was the best place to start, not realizing that I'd already started, right? And that's kind of how I feel about this type of question. I feel like if he's dabbled with WordPress, he wants to do it. So like, and he's seen some of the stuff. If he's copy and pasted the code, he's already seen the code, and it's not something scary. That's you know what I mean? Like, so if you get into like the Anchor CMS, I built web pages out of this thing called PM Wiki. It was actually a really awesome site built out of a wiki, wiki technology, right? And I've used Drupal, and you can use all these different tool sets. You can use, and the thing is, just go at it. If you want to go at it, though, is a Chromebook going to work only for certain specific tasks, like WordPress, like other things like that? Otherwise, you're going to be jumping through some hoops to do some stuff. Like Craig, I really wish you could just kind of just do it. But you might be actually better off getting a cheap Windows machine, like cheap, because you're not going to be running, unless you're running a 3D website, you don't even need anything that powerful to run, tests and stuff like that. So, yeah. So definitely just jump into it. if you're looking to do this all the time, I wouldn't say that the Chromebook's your best bet. I would maybe get a cheap Windows machine or a cheap Mac that you can get used, something like that, something like that, or whatever you're familiar with would probably be best. But anyway, so not to get off the Chrome train, but but thanks guys. That was good feedback. I really appreciated that email that we got. So all right, time to get into the main. But before we get into the main, we're going to have to take a look at our sponsor, and that is of course effective-group.com. Effective Group. They're out there getting it done every day when it comes to building websites. Now, who is the Effective Group? Well, the Effective Group is a company that's out there putting you online. If you need a fantastic website, if you need one that's going to be a responsive design site that gets you on the web, gets you able to be in front of people's faces, whether it be on their phone, tablet, or whatever, and all the marketing looks exactly the same. That's what we call the responsive design, and they work on that hand in hand, right? That's how they build their websites for you. Now they're based out of the UK, established about 15 years ago. Again, their website's effective-group.com, and what they do is they put you online, and they work with you hand in hand. There's usually one representative that works with you the entire way. They don't work through any tricky jargon. You won't have to worry about the term responsive design. They'll just show you that, hey, it works here. See, here's the mobile device, and here's what your website looks like, and here's is on your desktop, and it looks almost identical, just bigger, right? But yet it form fits. They're not going to throw any weird, technical speak at you. They're just going to have, conversations about how you want to market yourself on the web. Then they'll help you build the website. They'll help you do the search engine optimization, which means that if someone types in your name or the name of your company, that's going to pop up. It's going to be one of the first ones that pops up, especially if it's location based. So if it's on your phone and you're searching for a restaurant or something like that, you'd be the first one that showed up if they're in the area. They're going to work with you hand in hand in that, and that's what the Effective Group does. Again, if you've got to check them out, if you're looking to get a website built, you're looking for SEO management, price per click management, you're looking for product listing, ads management, social media management. If you want to get on Twitter, Facebook, G+, you want to get yourself a good marketing strategy for those social media sites, definitely check out the Effective Group. Again, their website is www.effective-group.com. And when you go there, you can check out their testimonials and also their portfolio. You'll see some great stuff out there. So definitely check them out. We appreciate them sponsoring this show. Again, that was www.effective-group.com if you're looking to get on the web today. All right, guys. So here's what I have for the main, right? So I talked about the fact that I can't swing my arms like that too much. I got this cup of water here. It's not my normal desk, It's weird. Okay. The main today. So it's a news hour. I'm going to rattle off what I have for the news, what I have for the main, right? Because it's all crazy. So much cool stuff. So Francois before has been popping out stuff left and right as usual. And some of the things that have really caught my eye lately, some of them are really like simple things that are coming across, and they're simple, but yet they're going to affect us in big ways, like the fact that the maximize Window-Eyes full screen button is going to change, and it's actually going to show you when it's in when you're going to be turning it in either window or maximize. I know it's simple, but things like that come out. But one of the things that he hit us up with and he let us know about was the fact that the Chrome Web Store, you don't need to log in anymore to download the free apps. So you don't have to be logged into Chrome to go to the Chrome Web Store and then install apps. That is awesome. Is that not awesome, Craig?
It is awesome, but the scope of awesomeness has yet to be determined. There's a lot of applications where this can make a lot of sense, like supervised users, but it's not enabled for supervised users yet. So it's not going to have a lot of practical use at the moment, but it might pave the way for a lot of cool stuff.
This is what I'm saying, right? So, see, cool stuff, right? So there's that, and the supervised user is going to be the first place you're going to use that, but good point. The other thing was the Chrome has you covered when you need a strong password. They're going to auto-generate for you if you want one. That's awesome. So that's Francois' kind of hits that I was like, ooh, I got to talk about that. Then the other one was the nVidia chipsets are being reviewed right now, and people are looking at performance. So we're going to talk about that. We got to talk about that. Next up was the Chrome OS killer has been revealed too. There's actually a video out there. I can't remember who it was. It was like Mobile Geeks or something, and they did a pretty good video of showing Windows 8.1 with Bing on that HP model that's under $300 with the AMD chip in it, running Windows 8.1 with Bing, and it looked pretty good. The other thing was the Bing rebrand to MSN literally floored me. Like I literally fell on the floor, and tears came to my eyes as I saw a little butterfly with little wings, and I was like, "Are you kidding?" So there was that, and then of course there's Craig's awesome watch. So that's what we're going to be talking about. If you want to stick around and listen, it's probably going to be. We might have to skip some stuff because I think we're already at the hour mark, but I digress. If you guys are willing to push through, I will. We will talk about it. I'm going to throw it to you, James, because I already asked Craig a question. I want to find out, what do you want to talk about out of those things first? Seriously, look at all that stuff. It's ridiculous.
Oh, what were all those things again? I'm kidding.
Oh.
I'm mostly kidding. I was kind of listening. Let's see. We got downloading apps without signing in. That's cool. We got Craig's watch. That's cool. We got oh, the Tegras. I want to talk about the Tegras. Tell me how they're doing.
So, and Craig helped me out here. I've read all the reviews, and they're literally
All of
blurring
them?
together. I have. I've read
Every
all of
single
them.
review.
I have. I've read all of. I found the end of the internet when it came.
Have you read my review?
You don't have one. Yours goes ARM. I've read that one.
Okay, so you have read it.
You have the 2-word review. ARM. so here's the funny part about the whole Tegra thing. So the reviews are, I would say, they're lackluster. But something Craig said to me this evening kind of pointed out something, and that is a lot of people are talking about the performance based off of. Some of them are talking about benchmarks. A lot of people are talking about benchmarks. A lot of them are talking about the performance when it comes to a lot of open tabs, right? So that's cool. That's real performance world, right? That's like real world. What's interesting, I think, is what they're talking about when it comes to graphics. They say that actually when it comes to graphics, the thing is like top notch, right? 1080p video, awesome. 3D graphics, if it's been properly coded for ARM, awesome, right? Like literally hands down the best. Another reviewer said, I received it, I was like, ooh, this is not good. And then I received an update, and it was like night and day. So I think that this chipset, and we've talked about this before, the fact that it's been merged, it's nVidia building out the chipset. Remember, ARM is a leasing, so like they manufacture it, they put it together, they build out the architecture. It's nVidia's dream using the ARM chip as the brain, and then nVidia added their own GPU on top of that with 192 GPU cores, which is crazy. So my thoughts are on this when I read all the reviews and the fact that more models are coming out. I think this is Samsung is the one who has the problem now, because the other companies are going to be picking it up, and the Exynos chip just right now can't compete. It literally cannot compete, because right now the Bay Trails and the NVIDIA chips are almost at the same level at this point. So it's going to be the chipset to beat when it comes to ARM. That's what my ultimate takeaway was. Craig, you read all the reviews, and well, I don't know about all of them. You're not me. I read all of them, but you read all the reviews too. What are your thoughts on this on the NVIDIA Tegra chipset from ARM that they're throwing into these all these Chromebooks?
Well, I think you make an interesting point when it comes to the Bay Trail comparisons. I think that in some ways this chip beats Bay Trail, hands down, beats it, because even though the actual performance is similar, Tegra has the winning edge when it comes to graphics. Bay Trail doesn't. And on battery, they compete pretty similar. So between the two, I would say take the ARM model. On the low end, it's very difficult to beat ARM because that's their specialty. And for Intel, the low end is an afterthought. So, and I do think that, like you mentioned, John, with updates, it will get better. All Chrome devices get better with updates, just as they become more optimized, as newer technologies are invented on the software side that can make use of certain things on the hardware side in a better way. So I would love to get my hands on one and put it through the tests and just see how it holds up in real world usage, because specs don't matter to me. I'm not like you, John. I don't live my life by numbers on a screen. Well, that's not true. Uh,
He says as he looks at his stock tips.
right. I don't live my life by benchmarks published by a reviewer that only cares about specs. And we'll get to this when we talk about the Moto 360, but reviewers are biased toward specs inherently. When a reviewer gets a device, they're benchmarking it against the benchmarks of other devices. They often don't have enough hands-on time to really get a feel for real-world usage. And I mean, part of that's just that they touch so many devices, and part of it's just that they're spec people. The types of people that go on to become tech reviewers are people that like specs. And that's awesome. You know, they're living the dream. But for the average person, specs begin to tell us less and less. Because just like you see Apple doing amazing things with low-end hardware and great software, we could see that with Chrome OS too, and I think we are over time. And it's all about what decisions the team will make moving forward. Do they decide, oh, the way we've implemented this is going to use too much RAM on these 4 devices, so instead let's scrape it, let's rebuild it, let's scrape our entire Ash interface and build this fancy new thing. I mean, some of the performance boils down to software decisions that haven't yet been made, because the device isn't really in the general availability mode yet anyway. I know a few people have their hands on it, but to my knowledge, you can't just buy one and have it show up the next day. Maybe that's changed. I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention to it, if I'm being completely honest, because it's not something I'm going to get my hands on. I've read the reviews. The reviews, like James said, it's an ARM chip. We knew what to expect. I agree with him there. But I do think when the question is ARM versus Bay Trail, I would choose ARM.
I think it depends on what you do with your Chromebook. The way it handles graphics is cool, but I don't do things on my Chromebook personally that really require a lot of graphics-intensive processing. I spend most of my time on my Chromebook developing websites that nobody goes to. So for me, I would rather have the Intel chip for the sole purpose of avoiding the things that ARM can't do because people just don't feel like developing it for ARM, like uploading music to Google Music. That sounds small, but it's a deal breaker for me because I'm 100% Chrome OS. So if I'm going to put music into Google Music, it's got to happen on my Chromebook device. So I can't have an ARM device. I can't do that. And there's a couple other things that you can't do. 99% of things you can do on ARM, but there's just a couple things that people don't feel the need to code for ARM. I honestly can't figure out why Google has not coded uploading music on an ARM device, considering how many Chromebooks have ARM chips in them. But for whatever reason, they're not doing it. So for me personally, I would choose I'd choose the Haswell, but if I had to choose between Bay Trail or ARM, I would choose Bay Trail simply because I don't want to deal with the limitations of ARM. But the graphics are nice, and the fact that the nVidia Chromebook is handling graphics so well will hopefully inspire Intel to maybe put a little bit more effort into competing with the nVidia in that respect.
I don't know that it will, because again, the low-end market for Intel is an afterthought. It's not their primary business. This is ARM's primary business. So when you look at the development standpoint, I tend to weight that argument very little. I tend to put it in a corner and say, hush, hush, be quiet, because that's going to disappear. There are a few apps that still rely on Intel chips, but they're going to go away as we get portable native client into an immersive technology. So those are fixable problems, James. Those are not buying into a flawed hardware ecosystem that's
I'm
suffering
waiting.
through it. And you should be. It's suffering through temporary software pain points. And you're going to have those regardless of platform. Let's be honest. I mean, there were those issues when Microsoft decided to switch to 64-bit. You had programs that broke compatibility. So it's those pain points. They're very real, and they're justified. But they're going to disappear one by one over time. And I don't know that that should stop the average person, you're not average, James, from buying an ARM model.
I am the average user of this podcast.
Of this podcast, yes, but we throw you out into a pit, they're going to eat you like prey. Because you're the weird one.
I don't know if I'm that weird when it comes to Google Music. When I was selling these things, the biggest things that people complain about were Skype. So obviously we say, well, you can do Hangouts. And then they complain about iTunes. Well, there's Google Music. Unless you buy the ARM book, then you can't really upload music. But you know, that just seems like kind of a big deal to me when Google, I mean, Google knows that a lot of people aren't going to replace their computers with Chromebooks. Google knows that the Chromebooks for a lot of people are extra devices, but for a growing number of people like myself, Chrome OS is actually replacing their devices. For a lot of people, I mean, William Bottoms uses his Chromebook as his phone, for crying out loud. That guy has converted his entire life to Chrome OS, and I bet he doesn't have an ARM device because he probably uses Google Music, and he wouldn't be able to upload music without an Intel chip or a Windows device.
Now,
So
I think you're giving Google too much credit, James. Google is not an organized organization. Let's be honest here. There is so much fragmentation between teams. I mean, the fact that Hangouts for iOS does voice over IP and Hangouts for Android does not, because you've got two different product teams working on the mobile apps, is frustrating to death. I mean, it's ridiculous, especially when iOS is a competing project.
The toxic
But
health.
right, exactly. Kudos to Tyson for that. Great shirts, by the way. Great shirts.
Agreed.
But I think you're giving too much credit to the idea that Google should. Google doesn't have a mind. Google has thousands of employees with ideas of their own, and that allows them to come up with some fantastic products. But they're not always great about the continuity of those projects. And that bugs me, it frustrates me. I kind of wish they would appoint somebody as their sole job to go through and fix those pain points. And they probably
I'm
exist.
available.
I'm available too. I would volunteer for that. But I would love that job. Right, and I would love that job, to be honest. I think I could excel at that. But I think it'll get solved eventually. But I'm not sure that they're cohesive enough that you can really blame them. Like if it was Apple, you could blame them because they're known for fixing those types of problems. But and I know this is a massive cop-out, but in a way, I think you can't blame them because I don't know that they're aware enough to be at fault.
So I'm confused by your message. You started by telling me that I'm giving Google too much credit, but now you're telling me I'm not allowed to blame them. I'm not giving anybody credit or blaming anybody. I'm simply saying right now I can't upload music on an ARM device, so I'm not buying an ARM device. Maybe down the road I'll be able to upload music with an ARM device, so maybe down the road I'll consider buying an ARM device. But the fact that hopefully these issues will go away someday is not a good reason for me to buy an ARM device now. That's a good reason for me to consider buying an ARM device someday.
Here's my thing. I think James has a very, very good point here, and that is, and so does Greg. But I think I see where he's coming from. Is he's saying, as a consumer, are you telling me that you've got a huge asterisk on the side of one of your biggest products, which is music, and it says, "Oh yeah, you can do this on a Chromebook." Asterisk. And then you have to go down and go, what do you mean by asterisk? Oh, okay, so when I buy one, I have to make sure I don't get an ARM chip, which is really the one that's most popular right now, so I can't even get the one that you're really like hawking. So like, that's I think that's a very deep annoyance right there, because that really sets the stage for it to be kind of a
I
toxic
agree.
hell stew.
I agree completely. And my point is just, I'm not sure that this is something that the Chrome OS team can address. I think this is the result of a larger cultural issue within Google of this failure to communicate rather than an issue that Chrome OS, like the Chrome OS team can't just stand up one day and say, let's fix this. They have to hunt down the music team that made the app, talk to them, work with them, and maybe that team, maybe they're working on something else. So I realize it's an issue. I don't want to downplay that. I think it's a very, very important thing. And I totally agree that it stinks. I own an ARM device. I hate it because of that. I hate these little pain points. But I don't know that we can blame. We have to be careful where we place the blame. That's my point.
Uh, and true, and you're pointing. So
I
that's
blame
what you're
ARM.
pointing at. Right. That's what you're pointing out, is that, you know, you can't really point at one direct person or group of people or development group or whatever. You can't really point them out. So, all right. So let's get to one more thing about when it comes to the ARM thing, and that is the biggest thing when it comes to this whole Tegra NVIDIA thing was the fact that it was Acer, and everyone loves the design. Now we've seen some pictures here and there, but and they came out with you know the basic standard pictures, and some of the people have issued some more pictures. Uh, but people are loving it. They're saying like that one of the quotes was the best design this side of the Pixel when it comes to the actual design of the product. Even though it's made out of plastic, right? It's not like the Pixel's made out of metal, and it's like literally like, to not have any other really good analogy, it is like literally like an iPhone 5, but in like this big beautiful like Chromebook of an iPhone 5. I know that's a terrible thing to say, but it really is. It's really like nice and solid and like pretty and all metal. And anyway, so this Acer Chromebook 13 is phenomenal design, amazing. I think that's the other thing that I think that besides the whole reviews of the
I thought it
actual.
was the same.
No,
I
no,
thought it
no. We're
was
talking.
pretty much the same as the other Acers. They changed it?
Oh yeah, don't you remember the pictures that came out? Remember I sent them to you, the white with like the really cool like the USB and the power cord coming out the back, which is like literally what everyone wants in a laptop because they don't want to have stuff jutting out the side.
You're cutting out a lot, so I don't know what you said.
Oh, I'm sorry. Craig, could you hear me?
I can hear you, and I saw the pictures. I could take it or leave it. I gotta say, I think the statement that it's the, I think honestly the HP 11, with Google HP 11, the Generation 1, was the most beautiful device short of the Pixel. Really, truthfully. I don't think that this one can touch it.
Am I the only one who doesn't think the Chromebook Pixel is all that amazing looking?
I
You have
think
Maybe
it's,
that's just me.
you have to feel one, dude. I didn't think it was all that cool either until like I held one. Hopefully, when you guys go to Chicago, I've only held one for a couple minutes because the gentleman at my work said Aaron's got one, and it is like literally the coolest laptop. The MacBook Air is all nice and all, but this is like perfect. I don't know. It's like the sexiest thing on when it comes to laptops. I'm telling you, the Pixel's really nice. But anyway, the pictures of the Craig, I can't believe you don't like it. You're crazy.
well, I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said it doesn't do anything for me. Like
Okay.
I won't run out and buy it just because of the design.
The design is really nice though. Like really nice. I'm sorry, the power is actually on the side. It's on the opposite side from the Acer C720s that we have. But there still is the HDMI, and one of the USBs goes directly out the back, which I think is super awesome. I think having the some of the ports come out the back is like the best thing you can do for a laptop. And that's just me. But it does look really nice. That's another big thing. So anyway, so we talked about that. What about? See, it's terrible. You know what we're gonna do? Because we could talk about this. Okay, let's talk about the strong passwords, and then what we'll do is we'll skip the Windows stuff because I think that's just me being. And then the whole thing with like, Apple stuff all came out today. That was my joke earlier, by the way, about the fact that if you make a bigger screen device, you just call it a plus, because they basically came out with what they basically Apple came out with today was the Nexus 5 and the new and a Note and a Samsung Note is basically what they came out with today, um, with tap to pay, which has been in both all those devices since the dawn of time, um, and then their phone watch thing, which can't be worn by lefties because I thought that was a good joke someone said because they have all the watch does look kind of cool though. That video that Kevin Toffel shared, that's pretty cool. It does work. It's pretty slick. But anyway, that's all Apple stuff. I guess it is very exciting. I know it's not Chrome based, but it is very exciting. I'm just saying.
It actually has almost the same exact specs as the Nexus 4, the new iPhone 6, which came out in 2012.
True, but I'm not that excited for the phones or the watch. But I will say that the tap to pay work they've done really is going to push tap to pay forward. Not just because of the extra exposure and the fact that average people are going to be able to do it, but because the interface is gorgeous. And for a large part of trusting a payment provider, it's having an interface that you're comfortable using. And I think Google Wallet has really fallen short there. So I'm looking forward to Google's response to this. I'm really hoping we can push this forward because I love tap to pay. I think it's great technology, but it's just been horrendous to use. So I'm very proud of what they were able to accomplish when it comes to tap to pay, and credit where credit's due.
Besides some of the awesome people, the only thing I miss about working at GoDaddy was they had tap to pay vending machines, and so when I was running CyanogenMod for a brief time, or no, I don't know. There was a certain time where my phone was set up just right to where ISIS mobile wallet actually worked, and it was really cool to I just felt like I was in the future, and I kind of felt a little subconscious about it. I would look around and make sure nobody was looking because I didn't want to look like a weirdo holding my phone up to the vending because I'd never seen anybody else at work do it. I have never seen anyone use that tap to pay feature on the vending machine, so I knew they would think I was ridiculous, especially the first time when I wasn't even sure if it would work. So I made sure no one was looking, held the phone up, and it beeped, and it gave me a Pepsi, and it was such a glorious moment in my life, and
so awesome.
I may never get that again, unless I get an iPhone and go to Walgreens and I can have it again.
Now let's use this to segue to the watch because apparently the iPhone watch will have the tap to pay available because it'll have NFC. Craig,
That would be cool.
that would be cool.
I could pretend I'm putting $1 in the machine and really my watch is paying for it. Then I wouldn't look so stupid.
Exactly.
Oh it didn't take my $1. Oh, but it gave me a Coke anyways. Oh, that's cool.
It's a little sleight of hand. That's right. Craig, does your new Moto 360 watch have an NFC chip in it?
Not to my knowledge, and I've been tapping my phone against it pretty often. I keep thinking maybe it'll just show up. That's a software thing, right?
That's how Bluetooth worked on the Acer C7. It just showed up one day.
That's exactly right. So listen, Craig, it's not super chromy, I know, but it's just like the Apple talk. It's fun to talk about it, and I think that this is Google based, so I think it's pretty cool. Craig got a new Moto 360, which is all sexy as hell, and I said to him, Craig, I don't want one because I don't think they're practical. I would never use it because I've got my Casio, right? I got one of these bad boys that gives world time. I can do everything I want on this. Look at this watch. It's not quite the calculator watch, but it gets it done, right? It doesn't talk to me or anything, but it gets it done. So, and now that I've seen it, I'm like, man, that is nice.
It
My
is.
wife is gonna be so pissed off because I'm gonna be like, remember I told you I didn't want any technology for Christmas? Because I have my
Why would you
computer.
ever say that, John? Why would you ever set yourself up for that kind of failure? You know you want technology for Christmas. What else could you want? Socks?
Do they have Bluetooth?
After they've been out for about a year, maybe.
They've got that kinetic charger, so they charge as you walk.
There you go.
So let's see the watch, Craig. Come on.
Okay. Or wait, that's the other one.
I was gonna say, very funny.
This guy.
That is kind of the point, though. It's the first smartwatch that looks like a watch, and I think there's a brilliance to that.
Oh wait, let me send you a text.
Sure.
It's the only smartwatch I would buy if I was going to buy a smartwatch.
That's a way to put it. I don't think that's gonna. Well, yeah, there it went.
There it went. Look at that.
You're not gonna be able to see it at all.
Oh, there we
That's
go.
okay, but there's my crazy face.
I saw
Oh,
it.
that was so.
Pretty instantaneous.
What are Craig's impressions of having a smart watch?
Well, to be honest, I had no expectations, so that's doing it right. A lot of people were complaining early on about various problems, and I haven't encountered any of them. For example, let me check my battery status. I took this off the charger at 9 a.m., and we're now pushing 11:45 p.m. I have 29% left, and I am a pretty heavy user. So battery concerns are overstated. Lag, I haven't witnessed any. It has been just amazing. I've waited and let my notifications stack and scrolled through them quickly, and it keeps up. I don't have a bad thing to say about this. I really don't. And I kind of want to, because everyone else is. But I haven't found a bad thing to say. It's comfortable. It is so lightweight. It almost feels fake. When I first got it, I thought, well, okay, they shipped me like a demo unit or something. There's obviously no parts in here. I mean, it is just so light. It really is. I forget I have it on. For example, I left the house today and forgot my phone. I forgot my phone because I had trained myself that all my notifications are now coming from my arm. So I didn't even bother to check. And that was pretty cool. I have to admit, that was pretty awesome in a weird way. But yeah, it's brilliant. I will say that my usage, because people are going to ask, I probably got around 500 notifications today. So that's 500 interactions with the device over the amount of time I've had it on. However, my interactions are not like 2 minutes at a time. My interactions are 30 seconds or less. I get a notification, I act on the notification, I move on. So when you break it down to that type of usage, you're going to get a long battery life out of it, just because the screen's not on that much. It's just not. So I was able to squeeze lots and lots of hours out of this thing with what I would call moderate use. Some days I'll have more notifications, some days I'll have less, but today was probably a pretty good indicator for me of an average day. Now, if you're the type of person that you're going to try to install Flappy Bird, don't expect to get more than a couple hours. Let's be realistic here. But yeah, I don't have anything bad to say. I don't want to disappoint people, but I have nothing bad to say.
Now, you said it doesn't have a speaker, right?
That is correct. No speaker.
Can it still transmit audio via Bluetooth?
I don't think so. Wait, which way?
From the device. Well, I guess it gets its data from your phone anyways, right?
It does, but it also has a microphone, so you could talk to the watch.
Mm-hmm.
The watch then passes your command to Google Now, processes the command, and passes the results back to the watch. So the watch only has Bluetooth.
And I can't. I guess my question is, I can't save some MP3s to it, take it to the gym, and listen to it with Bluetooth headphones?
Not yet. In a future update, I think October 15th is the release date, Google's going to allow you to put and store music on it. It doesn't have a very big hard drive. I'm not sure about Bluetooth audio, but there was talk about runners and stuff, so I would assume Bluetooth audio is probably how they're going to do that. But yeah, Google is planning on allowing you to store music on the device. I probably won't use that because I have my phone. And this one doesn't have a GPS, but there is plans to add GPS support. So in the future, it's feasible we may see a running geared watch where it's got the built-in GPS, the battery lasts for 3 hours at a time, you can do Bluetooth audio, and it's going to be the only watch that you use when you go for a run. And it may be $200, and you may buy that as your workout watch.
That would be, those are the kind of things that I would want a smartwatch for. Because I have a fairly large phone. It gets bigger every year and a half. Every 2 years now, since Verizon doesn't let me upgrade early anymore. So, and when I'm wearing a pair of like gym shorts are light and loose, and the phone in the shorts pocket is swinging around and banging against my leg. That's annoying. Or I can get some crazy arm strap and strap my huge phone to my arm or something. It's kind of, I do it because I don't really have another option besides buying like a dedicated MP3 player. But I would love to have a smartwatch that I could put a couple CDs on to go running with, download the Map My Ride app so I can use GPS to track my route. Look, I don't run. Running is for losers. But I do ride my bike once in a while. I just wanted to throw that out there in case you guys thought I was a runner. No. But I do like to ride my bike, and I do like to track that with the Map My Ride app. And I would like to also listen to music without having to bring my phone. So if Motorola's listening, those being able to do those on a smartwatch would be very handy. I would leave my phone at home when I go on a bike ride, and on purpose, not on accident like Craig did, because I would know that my watch would do the things that I would want it to do. I'm not really sure what else, and I wanted to ask you, Craig, what things do you do now that you didn't do before, or you do now that are easier than before you had the watch?
Notifications. That is the biggest thing for me. I bought this thing with no expectations, so any way it improves my life is a win for me. And I mean that sincerely. The biggest thing I've noticed is that I no longer have to pick up my phone or switch browser tabs to take care of an email. If an email comes in and it's one I don't want, I slide left and then click delete and it's gone. And then I go back to doing what I'm doing. I don't interrupt my workflow. And when you get like 200 emails a day, that's a godsend. It really is. There are a few improvements that I would make to the workflow. Right now, for emails, you only have the option to set one command, whether it's delete or archive, only one. And that annoys me because I use archive and delete about half the time.
Oh, no.
So right now I've got it set to delete, and I just leave the ones I want to archive alone, and I just swipe them away and get to them later. But that is going to annoy me. Replying to Hangout messages is also super easy. I would pick up my phone 100 times a day because on my Windows PC, which is where I do most of my college work, I don't have the Hangouts extension installed because it interferes with Photoshop. It gets in the way of the layer tool, which is in the bottom right corner, and I could move that, but I don't want to. So
sounds like work.
When I use Hangouts, it's either on my phone or on my Chromebook, which only sits a few feet away, but I have to spin my chair to get to it. And now I don't have to spin my chair.
You'd rather spin your chair than move the Photoshop tool?
Well, I don't have to do either now. Now I just talk.
Nice dodge. That was good.
We're talking small solutions here that add up. That's the geek thing, right? That's Silicon Valley, save milliseconds. It's nonsense. It's total nonsense. But it's convenience. The other thing, Twitter, those alerts, those are great. Google Plus is fantastic, and here's why. The Google Plus app takes too many clicks to get to a notification that I've been tagged in on my phone. I have to open the app. I have to swipe out the notification bar. I have to click on it. I have to scroll down. Too much time and effort.
Well,
With the watch, go ahead.
Unless you go to the notification itself. If you go to the notification in the notification bar, it goes right to the comment.
Yeah, I never did that. I was going the long way around.
He'd rather spin in his chair 3 times, do a couple jumping jacks.
Exactly. But on the watch, what you can do is you have the ability to open on phone any notification that pops up, and it opens right to wherever the notification goes. All I got to do is pick up my phone, it's there. I can pick up right from the notification. I do my little pin lock thing, and I'm inside the app right away.
Does that only work for Google Plus, or are there any other apps that do that?
I think they all do that. Let me check. Well, let me do Google now real quick.
Is there even Chrome on that thing? I mean, can you look at websites? I don't know why you'd want to.
I'm not. I don't think Chrome's an option. I wouldn't use it because again, this is for me. This is something that is making. For me, it's notifications. It's being able to get a notification, act on the notification, and move on. I don't want to spend time on my watch.
Right. What I'm thinking is like you get an email, one of your 200 daily emails, and it's like there's a link in it, and you actually want to look at it. It's worth interrupting your workflow. So it'd be kind of cool since you're already looking at the notification on your watch, tap the link, and then by the time you've turned the screen on your phone, it's already got Chrome open to the link that you just tapped on your watch.
I see what you're saying, and I would like that. The only issue would be that you would have, well, if it's a paired device, it should be able to, well, I would have to set a default app.
It would be a setting, yeah. When you click on a link, which app do you want to open? Chrome, Opera, Firefox, whatever.
Yeah, I don't like to set a default app for my browser because I go through them so often. I use Link Bubble, Chrome Stable, Chrome Beta, Opera, Firefox, Dolphin.
Well,
I like to choose.
You'd think it would let you set the default app for the watch. Like if I tap a link on my watch, it opens Chrome, but the rest of my phone is left to whatever I'm using.
Yeah, but even then, I like to pick depending on the site. So if I'm going to open, for example, a Google service, I use Chrome because it signs me in automatically. But most everything else, I use Link Bubble because it's up. It's that's great. So yeah, I don't know.
Ask you, I suppose, on the watch, when you tap the link, you could select which browser you want to open it. It'll detect whatever browsers you have on your phone. Tap the one you want to open, as opposed to you see the email on your watch, you think, oh, I'd like to check out that link. I'll open my phone and open Gmail again, even though I was already looking at Gmail on my watch. Now I got to open Gmail again, find the email, tap the link there.
Well, it'll open straight to that email. So all you would have to do is click
that
the link.
helps.
So it's one extra click versus the way you're describing.
We'll do that on the phone then, or on your watch with email too?
Oh yeah,
any
notification. Any notification, pretty much, from what I've seen. I haven't seen one that doesn't work that way. You just swipe all the way to the right and then hit open on phone, and it drops you down right to that spot, which is the handiest thing ever, especially for Google+.
Yeah.
I have to say, I love it. I love the darn thing because it's out of my way, but it's always there. Like when it vibrates, I know I have a notification. I can deal with it right away, then I'm moving on. And I think that... Oh, go ahead.
Craig, sorry, Craig. Did you wear a watch, a full-time watch all the time before?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Okay, because I think that's important. Don't you?
I do too.
Yeah.
I think
Anyway,
it's...
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I think you make a great point. For someone that doesn't wear a watch, it could be either extreme. You could put this on and say, I don't want to wear it because I don't like the way it feels. And I don't see enough benefit to justify wearing it. Or someone that doesn't wear a watch now could say, I've never had the time on my wrist before, this is genius. So I think you can have either extreme, and I think largely that's going to depend on the type of person you are. I will say that in terms of wearing it, compared to my old watch, it is so much lighter. My old watch is roughly the same size, roughly the same color. I've got them mixed up at least twice already. They are so similar. Let me hold them up.
It helps that it's that light too. I have a really light watch as well, and it's all made out of aluminum, and I don't even notice that I'm wearing it. I'm really excited when we meet up in Chicago to compare the weight of our watches, because I do like having a light watch, and it will help somebody who doesn't wear a watch, their first watch being a light one rather than a big, bulky, heavy one. Because that is annoying when your left arm suddenly weighs like 8 ounces more than it used to.
Right, right. Yeah, and the leather too. I
Oh, that's
wasn't
another
sure.
question.
I
Go
wasn't
ahead.
sure how I would feel about the leather, but I've come around to it. What's your question?
Is the band at all? I don't even know if this is true of any watch. Is it removable, replaceable? Is it? Because I know my friend has a watch that's not a fossil, but he's using a fossil band on it, and so I'm wondering what kind of options I would have if I bought a Moto X to put a different band on it if I don't like the one that it has.
Right. The Moto 360. It there are several different types of standards for watches when it comes to bands. The Moto 360 uses the one that has the springs. So the way it works is you've got a little bar on each end of it. They're actually tucked up inside the watch, so I can't show them to you. And they're just kind of spring loaded on either end. So you
Hmm.
use a tool called a spring bar, you shove it up in there, and then you basically compress the spring, and the band pops off.
See,
It's a,
watch. See, if it's anything like Craig, you're talking about this style, right? Where if I go in here with this knife and I just pull the spring bar back,
Yep,
it'll
that's
come.
it.
It'll come. So it has a standard. It has a standard band on it, James.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a
Like if you,
standard band, and I think this. I don't want to say the size because I'm not sure. I think it's 22, but I'm not sure. That may be length. I don't know. I'm not really a watch guy.
so this probably isn't standard then. It's got like the 3 notches or forks or whatever, whereas it looks
yeah.
like yours just has like the band just
Well,
fits
no,
within.
James, what you might have is the axle, or not. It's probably not called the axle, but the axle is probably what's actually going in between those 3 bars, and it looks like it's 3 bars, but it might just be still the standard.
Well, I don't know
Look,
if you can
look.
see that. Like the band has 3
Oh yeah,
like
that's not
fingers that
normal
come
at
out, I
all.
guess.
That's not normal. That's not.
I bought it in Dubai. What do you expect? It's a Swiss. It's a Swatch.
Well, there are multiple standards. For example, my old watch doesn't have spring bars. It actually has a metal bar. You can see the end of it there where the band meets.
Yeah.
And apparently there's a way to remove that too. It's just a different tool and different procedure. But yeah, the Moto 360 bands are completely changeable. They are going to sell a metal one, but I don't know that I'll switch. This leather is just. It's not the smooth leather, like you sit down in a leather car seat and you go for a ride. It's not that. It's a soft touch, so it stays in place.
Like a football.
No,
Right.
no, not even that. It's almost a felt.
It's like a suede leather.
A suede football.
Craig has a
That's what the
suede.
Cowboys use. That's why they can never catch the darn thing.
That's right.
Well, it is. It does stay in place. It stays in place very well. And I like that because my other watch was rubber and it would just slide all around all day long.
They slide around, and plus you sweat. You get so sweaty under there. Where with the leather, you don't sweat as
True,
much.
true.
Yeah.
And on that same sweat note, it is a I want to say IPv6, but that's not obviously that's IPs, so that's not right. Well, it says it on the back, I'm sure. Uh, no, IP67. I was close. Um, water resistant, and I believe that's 1 meter in water. No
Which
deeper than that.
right, which means barely use it when you're washing your hands. You should take it
Right,
off.
right.
Right.
It's not
So
waterproof. It's water resistant.
Right.
that would probably be kind of a deal breaker for me if I can't shower with it, because I literally almost never. I mean, I paintball with it. I wouldn't paintball with a smartwatch, but I mean, I might if it's durable, but I gotta at least be able to shower with it.
Can you see? Can you see on my watch at the very top where there is some white on the glass? That is
I'll take
because
your word for it.
I hit walls with my
Me
watch.
too.
because I call it clipping. You guys either clipping or what's the other term for the first-person shooters when you could go through the corner of the wall? Like when they first designed them, you couldn't actually. You had to go like around the corner all the way. You couldn't just kind of slide through it like in real life.
Where you get
Like I
stuck
do
on a
that.
blade of grass.
I do that every day of my life. I run into a corner of a wall. It's terrible. But I mean, I've knocked down like cubicle walls because I'm like walking by and I can't handle it. So my point is, though, my point about it is that the watch, I bang it on things all the time, and I would worry about a $250 watch being against a wall every other day.
What
That is a
sticks
good
out
point.
on that watch? Does the glass of the screen stick out, or does the rim of the frame stick out?
The bad news on that, James, is that the glass is actually raised. It's not by much, but it is raised.
Yeah, that's
So,
If you're
yeah.
trying to show us, it's being hidden by your overlay.
Oh, yeah, I'm not trying to show you. I'm
Okay, I
looking at
didn't
it
know.
myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can try, but you're not going to be able to see that.
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I'd
would
be
not
a
be
little worried about that
that would not be
too.
good.
I mean, do you know what kind of glass? I'm assuming they must use pretty ball and glass because my watch, I bang my watch all the time. My glass also is raised, so when I bang it on the wall, it's hitting the glass in my watch, and it's pretty scratched up, but it's never cracked. So I would imagine that Motorola probably used pretty tough glass on this thing.
I know it's scratch resistant, but I think at least one person has already broken theirs
Ooh.
on
Who is
Reddit.
that one?
So it might have been like a drop test or something. But I'm looking at my old watch. It's raised a lot too. I don't see any scratches.
Well, that's because you're not a Neanderthal like me and James and we'll in the wall.
I guess
Yeah,
not. I don't
extra long
know.
arm. I can't control these things.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh goodness.
I'm like those inflatable things in front of the car dealership.
This is what happens after midnight.
Well, it's only 11 for me, man. I haven't even
Oh.
begun to get crazy yet.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, with that being said, Craig, thank you so much for sharing it with your watch. And I'm really happy for you. I know that you're excited about it and you're using it a lot, and it's become a tool you actually use.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of, I think. I mean, you knew what you were getting in one sense, but I think that it's really cool that you're able to, that you're excited about it and that you're getting a lot of use out of it. So that's cool stuff. So we'll go ahead and end on that note. It has has been a long evening. I know that I'm fading away, and guys, I appreciate you guys staying on so long. There was the Microsoft stuff I really want to talk about, but maybe we'll save that for another time because I think it's very interesting. But I'm going to leave them in the show notes so people can check it out about Bing turning back into MSN and them coming out with Windows 8.1 with Bing, which I think we definitely want to talk about that one. But anywho, gentlemen, thanks so much. Craig, where can people find you?
They can find me on Google Plus, John. I use my real name. Just search for Craig Tumbleson.
Awesome. And once you ping him, his watch will vibrate, and he will find out what you want to say to him.
Please use wisely.
Exactly. Everyone ping Craig. So,
I do get every single tag sent to my watch now.
exactly.
Somebody abused that during lunch. I was making chicken salad. It went okay.
Oh gosh. And Mr. Welvis, while you were pinging Craig during his chicken salad, where can people find you?
Well, John, you can find me on Google Plus. I'm almost always looking at Craig's account, so if you just want to tag him in something, I'll see it. That's okay. Otherwise, you can find me on Facebook. I wouldn't recommend it because Facebook blows, so that's all. Just stick to Google Plus.
All right, excellent. You can of course find me. I'm John Oliphant at my real name at Google Plus, John Oliphant. You'll see my wonderful face and know that it's me. Be sure to check out Practical Chrome at practicalchrome.com. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel, Practical Chrome, as well as we're on the Twitters. There's a Practical Chrome page. Of course, we are live every Tuesday at 10:10. Next week I'll be live from New York, and then the week after that, you guys are gentlemen will be live from Chicago if you can make it, right?
2 weeks already?
Is that correct?
Woo.
No, wait.
Is it really 2
or
weeks?
are you guys next week?
We're not. We
Yeah.
better not be next week.
think no, it's like the 23rd, right? It's a Monday.
22nd.
Okay.
I think
My point
23rd's
is,
the first day. You know what? Oh, I'm gonna make a Google Plus post about it. It's cool. It's cool.
no, I'm gonna try my best because, of course, they have like some type of social hour thing. So I'm gonna do my best to get back to the hotel by 10, and be able to get the show rolling. Next week I should be live from the Ace Hotel in New York, and then and hopefully we'll shoot. I still can't do a review of that 11E yoga. So anyway, um, so yes, every Tuesday night at 10:10 live, and of course practiceroom.com. Check us out. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and sticking with us for the past 2 hours. Everyone have a great rest of the week.
Bye, John.